Hello, you guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie. I love talking about books, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. Today's video is going to be part one in a two-part video series that I'm going to be doing on my channel called Getting Into Reading. And as you can guess, it's all about getting into reading. And I figured it was perfect timing with the beginning of a new year and people wanting to be on their phones less and find more analog hobbies. And for me personally, I have a lot of analog hobbies that I really do love and enjoy, but I feel like reading just takes the cake for me. I have absolutely fallen in love with reading as an adult over the past few years. And I'm hoping with this mini series, I can help you fall in love with reading too. Today in part one, we're going to be going over tips and tricks of how I got into reading, how some of my friends got into reading, or ways that I started to read more over the past few years. And then in part two, we're going to be going over specific book recommendations, great books for your first few reads or books that will really get you excited to read and will be great jumpstart books to keep you wanting to read down the line. Let's just go ahead and dive into tip number one, which is to get a reading tracker app. There are so many different apps to track your reads nowadays. There's Fable, there's Goodreads, there's Storygraph. I personally use Goodreads. I've been thinking about getting into Fable just because it is a little bit more with the times and just overall is a little bit more interactive than Goodreads, but I've been using Goodreads for a really long time. It's a great way to connect with other people. Think of it as just social media, but for reading. You get to see what books your friends are reading. Those apps also do recommend you books based on your taste. And along with that, you get to log the books that you're reading. And something that I still love today that motivates me a lot whenever I'm reading a book is whenever I log the book, I can see exactly what percentage I am through the book, which I really love specifically when I first started reading because I would log a book and I'd be like 60% through and I'd be like, only 40% left. Like I could definitely finish that within the next few days. And it just motivated me to keep wanting to read more. I feel like the best thing about reading tracker apps isn't just the fact that like you're tracking your reading, but also because it kind of creates a community of other readers around you, which in turn will motivate you to want to read more. And another community-based thing you could do that has to do with reading is start a book club or join a book club. There are so many book clubs out there. There's so many just online ones. There's tons at different libraries. They also have a lot at small local bookstores. So you really just kind of have to go on the hunt to see what book club would work best for you. You could also start one with your friends. Sharing the hobby of reading with other people is one of the best parts of reading by far because you get to talk about these stories and these characters and whether or not you liked them or how much they meant to you and how much that story is going to impact you. And really, I have met some amazing friends through reading. You just get to have really insightful and complex conversations about books. And I know this might sound like very English class-esque, but I promise you it's not. It's more fun as an adult whenever you get to choose what you're reading and you're really interested in the books that you're reading as well. And since I already mentioned the library, another tip is get a library card. There are so many great resources for you at your library. A lot of people think that whenever trying out a new hobby, they have to spend a ton of money, and reading is like the number one hobby you could do for free because of the library. With your library card, you can access so many things, not only being able to go to the library and basically bookshop for free, but also they have huge online catalogs that you can connect to your computer, your phone, your iPad, things that you already have. The two apps from my library that I love and use literally all the time are Hoopla and Libby. There are so many options of ebooks and audiobooks in both of these apps. Like they are truly incredible. And they also have a ton of popular books if that's what you're into reading as well. And like I already said, checking out books or getting those books on your phone through those different apps is free. So when you're first starting out with reading, I highly recommend just going to the library and trying out a bunch of different books. And if you don't like those books, that's okay. You just return them and you don't have to think about them again. But if you do like those books enough after you finish them, you could just go out and buy your own copy if that's what you're into as well. Or you can just get the ones from the library. I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to get out here, like I already said when I started talking about the library, is that it doesn't have to be expensive for you to like fully enjoy the hobby. There are so many people online that only use the library and don't buy their own books, or they only buy books that they rate 5 stars that they absolutely love. My next tip is don't be afraid to not finish a book. And I know for me, I'm a perfectionist. I feel like when I start something, I have to finish it. So I'm still working on this today. But especially whenever you're first getting back into reading as an adult, it can be super overwhelming. You're getting all these different recommendations or looking for different books in different genres, and you don't really know what you like to read yet. So if you're reading a book, you're like 50 pages in, you don't like the writing style, or you're just bored, just put it away. Maybe it's not for you, but also putting that book away could lead you to a book that you could absolutely love and adore. And honestly, life is too short to read books that you don't like. I definitely need to listen to my own advice there. Going back to what I was saying about the library though, I feel like whenever I get a library book, I'm a lot less scared to DNF it because I didn't spend money on it. And I feel like that kind of takes the pressure off of feeling like I have to enjoy it because I spent money on it. Next, I want to talk about audiobooks. They are incredible, especially whenever you're first getting back into reading. I know a lot of people don't think audiobooks are reading. In my opinion, they are. No matter what, you're consuming the story. And that to me is exactly what reading is, whether I'm reading it physically with my eyes or listening to it with my ears. My favorite places to find free audiobooks that I already mentioned whenever I was talking about the library apps are Hoopla and Libby. But if you're looking for a specific book at a specific time and those apps don't have it, you can do it with Spotify if you already have a membership. You get 15 free audio listening hours a month, which is pretty good. And if you run out for the month, you can just continue listening to that book next month, or you can purchase Audiobooks Plus, where you get 15 extra hours of listening time. But my personal favorite, especially if you're looking for a very specific book, is Libro FM. You can find the exact book that you want and purchase that one book, and it also directly supports a local bookstore of your choosing, which is really great. Audiobooks are really great too because you can mix them with a hobby that you already have or another hobby that you're wanting to start. I personally cannot go for a walk and listen to an audiobook because I get so distracted and I can't concentrate on it. So I have to be doing something with my hands, and that is where audiobook hobbies come in. My favorite audiobook hobby is coloring. It is just so peaceful, and I feel like I lock in on my audiobook so well. I can sit there for hours and just color and listen. I've also crocheted in the past while I've listened to an audiobook. You can do a puzzle. Honestly, you can do any type of craft. I like to work on my reading journal. I've also done paint by numbers and really enjoyed that. You can clean your house. You can organize something. You can cook. You can bake. Honestly, the options are endless. And I feel like when you're actually doing something that you are already going to do, it makes it easier to add reading into your life. Tip number 6 is to set a reading goal. And this doesn't have to be anything crazy. Reading one book a year is an accomplishment in and of itself, but I would recommend setting a reading goal because I feel like it's going to keep you a little bit motivated to want to read more. It's going to make you want to put your phone down, and you end up picking up your books so you can reach that goal. And reading goals are so personal. In my opinion, the best way to create a reading goal is to make it something that you think you could definitely achieve, but feels like a little bit of a challenge. Especially if you want to be on your phone less, it'll give you that little extra itch to pick up a book instead of picking up your phone. Sorry, the lighting is kind of glowing right now. I don't know what's going on, but you can also track your reading goal on those reading tracker apps that I talked about earlier. My next tip is to set timers. Now, I still do that to this day. Now, it could be an hour, it could be 15 minutes, it could be 30 minutes. It really just depends on how much free time you have that day, but I find setting a timer leads me to stop overthinking while I read and really helps me dive in and feel a lot more immersed in what I am reading, because if I don't set a timer, I start thinking about other things going on or plans I have later or random things I need to do around the house. But say I set a 30-minute timer, I am designating that 30 minutes specifically to reading, and that's all I think about. Sometimes when I'm sitting down to read too, I do find myself reaching for my phone, but when I set a timer, I don't reach for my phone because I know that my reading stint is ending at a certain time. I don't know if this is just how my brain works, but setting timers really helps me in the long run to read more and just feel a lot more immersed in the story that I am reading. It's also a really gratifying feeling when, say, I set a timer for 30 minutes and the timer goes off. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just read for 30 minutes, period. It's almost like that same satisfying feeling whenever you finish a book. It feels really good. Next, I wanted to talk about a few tips whenever you're specifically looking to find your reading taste or looking for book recommendations. The first one would be to think about your favorite TV shows or movies, or just specific genres of TV shows and movies that you really enjoy watching, because more likely than not, you're going to enjoy those stories the same way in book form. So if you really like horror movies, you might like reading horror books, or if you like rom-coms, you might enjoy reading romance novels. My next tip is to find book recommendations from people who have similar tastes to you. Whether those are people in your real life, friends or family, or people online from YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, there are so many different people out there who talk about books that have totally different tastes. You can definitely find somebody who aligns with your taste and you can get great book recommendations from them. For instance, I read a lot of romance, fantasy, and I feel like I'm slowly slowly but surely getting into the literary fiction genre. But if you want a lot of mystery, thriller, or horror recommendations, I feel like I'm not the girl to go to for that. And there are a ton of other creators who also read those three genres, but I also read a lot of memoirs and graphic novels. And there are so many people online who do read a lot of the same books and maybe have like similar genre tastes, but they might not feel the same way about every book that they read. So it's just important to find people who you feel give recommendations that really align with your reading taste. Because the better recommendations you get and the more that you enjoy the books, the more that you're going to enjoy reading. Another tip is to read something that feels nostalgic. I feel like there are so many nostalgic books out there, especially books that end up getting adapted into TV series or movies. You could read Twilight, you could read Percy Jackson, you could read The Hunger Games, anything like that I feel like could really spark your joy and love for reading. And then you could also watch the movies afterwards and make a whole event out of it. It is kind of exciting too sometimes to know where the story is going, or if you've only watched the movies, to get extra insight on the stories, because you do get so much more out of books from the main characters' perspectives than you really can get from a movie. It's also like a reward sometimes to revisit your favorite franchise by reading the book and then you get to watch the movie afterward. It's just very fun and interactive, and honestly, it would be pretty fun if you do have a book club to do something like that as well. Those are all my tips and tricks that I'm going to share today. Part 2 will be up in a few weeks, so keep your eyes out for that video, where I'm going to share all the books that I recommend to start out your reading journey really strong. And overall, if you did end up making it to the end of this video, I know you are incredibly serious about making reading a priority, and I hope that you fall in love with reading just as much as I have. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out my channel. If you watched until this far in the video, go ahead and comment down below the book stack emoji in honor of all the books you're going to be reading very soon. And if you want to keep up with me on the daily, you can go ahead and follow me on all my other socials. They're always linked down below in every single video. I love you guys so much. Hope you're all having an amazing day, and I will see you guys in my next video real soon. Bye guys. Peace.